This is the Less Insurance Dependence podcast show with my good friend Gary Takas and myself, Narain Arul Raja.
We appreciate your listenership, your time, and most of all, we appreciate your intention to reduce insurance dependence in your practice. Our goal is to provide information that will help you successfully reduce insurance dependence and convert your practice into a thriving and profitable dental practice that provides you with personal, professional, and financial satisfaction.
Welcome to another episode of the Less Insurance Dependence podcast, your trusted source for insights, strategies, and expert advice to help dental professionals take control of their practices and careers. I am Lester De Alwis, your co-host, and today we are diving into the topic, a very unique topic, and that is breaking free from PPOs, a practice management roadmap with Sandy Baird. Less insurance dependence, our mission is simple: to help dentists reduce their reliance on insurance and build profitable, patient-centered, and fulfilling practices. Before we dive in, a quick message from our sponsor for this podcast. Echo Marketing is offering a complimentary marketing strategy meeting where their experts will show you how to attract high-quality new patients, rank 1 on Google locally, and grow your patient flow. So if you ever wondered about knowing where your online visibility stands, you can go ahead and book a complimentary strategy session, which is at lessinsurancedependence.com/marketing-strategy-meeting to book yours. And if you are ready to create a thriving fee-for-service practice and you're looking for mentorship, schedule a complimentary coaching strategy meeting with Gary Takas at thrivingdentist.com/CSM. Now, on to today's episode. I'm thrilled to welcome Sandy Baird, founder of Baird Concepts, a respected dental consultant who has helped countless practice owners improve efficiency, profitability, and patient experience. Sandy specializes in guiding practices through transition away from PPOs by using smart management systems, team training, and effective patient communication. Today, we'll explore how you can take the first steps to reduce insurance dependence, build a strong business foundation, and create a thriving fee-for-service practice. Sandy, we're excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Lester. Thank you for asking me.
So let's start right there. When a dentist wants to move away from PPOs, where should they begin? What is the first step in building a roadmap towards less insurance dependence?
Tracking and analyzing their data. That's the most important. They've got to know how much they're writing off for each plan. They need to know what percentage they're writing off, how much money they're writing off. And I will tell you that the number one financial leak in any dental practice is what they pay to their PPOs. It's a marketing cost, and it's very expensive. Very expensive. It can be as much as 30 to 40% of your production. So this is a very worthy goal to become less dependent on these insurance companies because they are costing you a lot of money. So you've got to start tracking your data, and then you've got to start analyzing it. Like I said, the percentage you're writing off for each plan, the amount of production you're creating with each plan, how many patients are with each plan, what your new patient average is, how many new patients are you getting in? Are you going to be able? You're going to lose some patients. You may not lose them all when you drop a plan, but you're going to lose some. Or is your new patient flow going to be able to fill in? Now, the wonderful part about this is when you lose 2 insurance PPO patients, you only have to replace it with 1 non-PPO patient. So that's kind of a rough ratio, but it's pretty close. But you've got to have that new patient flow to be able. Now, you also need to look at your schedule. If you've got a lot of holes in your schedule that you cannot fill, you cannot afford to drop your PPOs yet. You have to build your practice up to the maximum point where when you drop that PPO, you have the new patient flow and the time to get the new patients in order to make up for that difference. And I will tell you, I've done this for another number of dentists, and each time they are actually producing more after they drop PPO than less. So if you've got the numbers and you're analyzing them and you're following them, and you can prove and you know in your mind that you can afford to lose a number of patients, yes, then I think you should definitely start doing it. And I guess the other questions will cover some of the other stuff I want to tell. So let's go ahead and go to the question.
So basically, the first step is to tracking your numbers, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You've
Perfect.
got to have the hard data. You've got to have the hard evidence.
That's a great starting point, Sandy. And I love that you emphasize that, that differences when you start tracking the numbers. Now, how can dentists effectively analyze their insurance participation and decide which plans to keep or drop based on patient volume and profitability?
Well, the answer to that is basically mining software. You have to use mining software in some form or fashion. And there are basically three different forms it comes in. There's the proprietorship mining, which is something that you as a dentist cannot buy, that consultants use or accountants use, or an analyst use. That a dentist cannot buy. And I use a proprietorship data mining software because it gets the figures, all the figures I need. Because you have to, one or two figures are not going to tell you anything. You have to get the big picture. So, but then a lot of our software, EagleSoft, Dentrix, Open Dental, they have built into their software some mining data that will go in there, and some are better than the others. Some can be very confusing. They can give you a list. Okay, this is what you charged your patient. This is what the PPO plan made, and this is what you wrote off. And it can be very confusing sometimes. So you have to do some calculations on that. But some softwares, like I said, do it better than others. And there are some software who does not have this ability. Their reports do not have this ability to analyze this dependency on PPOs, all the data from PPOs. Now, the third way to do this is to purchase it. You can purchase as a dentist by subscription. There are companies out there, a number of companies, and more companies are getting involved in this. And there are quite a few of them, but the problem I find is because they're independent, they have to be licensed by the software they're mining. So for instance, a lot of the independent plans that you buy on a subscription will only mine EagleSoft, Dentrix, and Open Dental.
Okay.
Because none of the other dental softwares are giving them permission to do that. And you have to, and that's part of your what you pay for subscriptions every month. So if you're using a software that is not supported by these subscriptions, then you have to manually go in there and do the reports. And if your software doesn't do the reports properly, you're going to have a very hard time figuring out your statistics. So that's kind of the trick there. But that's the only way you can do it without having to sit there and manually count. Okay, how many patients are in MetLife? How many patients? I mean, that's no dentist is going to do that.
Yeah.
And no consultant wants to do that either.
Yeah.
So, and it's not consistent. You need that system to be done the same way each time. So that's how they can analyze it. But then when they get that data, the important thing is they need to look at the numbers I told you to, and pick if you think your practice is ready to take these steps, is to drop the plan, do it in stages. Don't do it all at once. Do it in stages. And so you look at the plan with the least number of patients in it, which usually is the lowest production, and you drop that one. Now, I will tell you, you have to be patient with dropping insurance. This does not happen overnight. It's like pulling teeth, so to say. The insurances don't want you to drop. The PPOs, they're resisting it. And they will draw it out for months and months. And then all of a sudden, they'll spring it on you and say, okay, yeah, we dropped it last week. And that puts you in a pretty bad position.
Yeah.
So you've got to think ahead. You've got to think ahead and be prepared for that. Now, some of them are much easier than others. Some can do it really pretty promptly, but most of them cannot. And of course, you're not going to pick a plan that has 30% of your patients in it to drop first. I mean, that would be suicide. So I think everybody can pretty much figure that out.
Yeah. I think that makes perfect sense. And I think, like you said, data really tells the story. Now, when reducing insurance participation, what are the most effective strategies for communicating with patients and retaining them during the transition?
Don't wait to the last minute to tell them. Don't do that. That's one way to get rid of a patient. Exactly. Why didn't you tell me? I would have changed my appointment. Or what are you talking about? No, you have to let them know ahead of time, and you have to let them know by multiple methods. You have to make personal phone calls from the office. So in other words, okay, let's say you're going to drop Cigna, just to be an example. Okay, you run the report that tells you every patient that is covered by Cigna. Yeah. Somebody at the front desk starts making calls, and they most of the time the person will not pick up. So they need to have some scripting and training on exactly how to say, Mrs. Jones, I wanted to call and talk to you about your insurance plan. This is an important topic that I need to talk to you as soon as possible, so please call me back. So things like that. You have to train them in certain ways. But if you tried to drop them all at one time, the front desk would be slammed. There's no way you can do it.
It's overwhelming.
But no, and then you need to send text. And then if you want to, you can choose. Mail is not a bad, hard copy mail is not a bad option, because you have a lot more room to explain why you're doing this, because you don't have a lot of attention span, more than room. And voicemail, you've just got to really encourage them to call you back. You have an appointment coming up. I have some very important information to talk to you about that. But so that's really the first thing you can do is to keep your patients' volume and profitability up where it is to do it, stage it, start with the lowest count, and do that mining software, get that information. But mainly it's communication and customer service. You've got to prepare your team, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. You have to prepare your team way ahead of time. You've got to make sure your team understands the why.
Yeah.
So let's go on.
Exactly. So it's amazing, like how you mentioned, like how much patient trust can impact a smooth transition when it comes to this. And now, what role does the dental team play in successfully managing a transition away from PPOs? And how can leaders prepare their staff to handle patient questions and maintain morale?
Your staff can make it or break it. If they think it's wrong that you're dropping insurance plans, if you haven't spent time training them, and or somebody hasn't spent time training them, talking to them about the advantages to them,
Yeah.
the team members, and not to the doctor's pocketbook, and the advantages to the patients,
Mm.
then it's going to backfire on you. You're not going to retain those patients because the front desk person who says, I don't know why he's dropped this plan. I mean, I don't think it's fair to you at all. What kind of
Yeah.
response is that patient going to have? So the dental team is key, and you have to start way ahead of time, talking to your meeting with them. Of course, you're doing your team meetings every month. You don't want to miss those ever, but taking an advantage of explaining what limitations insurance has put on them. I mean, for insurance, for example, PPOs encourage dentists to act in certain ways.
Yeah.
What I mean is it forces dentists, because of the large write-offs, I've seen write-offs as much as 50% on a regular basis, because they're, writing off $500,000 a year, at least, maybe a million a year, depending on the size of their practice, to insurance. It forces dentists to think quantity over quality.
Yeah.
They have to get more patients in because they are not getting their full fees.
Exactly.
It also encourages them to buy lower quality materials, lower quality technology, because they can't afford it, because they're giving so much to the insurance company. It also PPOs try to illustrate to the patient that the dentist is overcharging them.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and it also encourages the dentist to think that they can't recommend treatment that's not covered by their PPO. It makes them start treating the PPO and not the patients.
Yeah.
So it also causes a lot of headaches for the front desk. The front desk people, the insurance, the financial team, they waste thousands of hours on managing. Talk about the advantage to the team, the fewer headaches. Talk about how you can spend more time with the patients because it's not quantity over quality more. So I think these are the kind of things you have to really talk to the team about. Talk to them about that and start and let them, see what the advantages would be for them, the patients, and the practice by dropping this. Because a lot of your employees are dependent on insurance in different ways in their lives. And they've been taught that a lot of people have been taught if you don't have insurance, dental insurance, you can't go to the dentist. I'll say, somebody will say, oh, I hadn't been to the dentist in 5 years. And I say, oh, really? Why? Well, my insurance dropped and now I can go to the dentist.
Exactly.
So
basically,
yes,
the
go ahead.
advantages weigh over the disadvantages.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
And these employees, these team members you have, need to practice these scripts. You need to talk to them. So let's talk about how we're going to explain all this to the patient. How are we going to justify this to the patient? First of all, you've got to build the trust and relationship with them. Those are the two things that have to come first. Is that internal marketing, that relationship building and trust. And then you have to be the team members need to believe it's the right thing. And then they need to be able to communicate that to the patient. Exactly. And that takes training, practice, role playing, scripting, until they're comfortable enough and believe it themselves.
Exactly. Amazing. That's an empowering message to anyone listening into this episode today, and the energy that you bring in as well. And the final question now. Now imagine we come out of we break free and successfully reduce insurance dependence. What are the next steps to strengthen profitability and maintain growth long term?
You've got to keep developing your practice. You've got to keep training yourself and your team to build this trust, to build these relationships, to spend really give patients your full attention. Run on time always. Do not break their trust. Don't have any questions about finances. That needs to be all cleared up long before the treatment's done. If they have surprises with finances, you're breaking their trust. You're breaking your relationship. You've got to explain to them why you're recommending this. Why do you need this? It all comes down to communication and preparing the patient. Don't surprise them when you're doing clinical work. Say, oh, I just want to tell you, Mrs. Baird, this is going to taste kind of nasty for a minute or two. Not a minute or two, 10 seconds. So it'll pass really quickly. But preparing them. Patients don't like surprises.
Exactly.
And I think that you have to train your team to think ahead and prepare the patient ahead of time, because they want something predictable. They want to walk in and they want to have fun. I mean, everybody thinks going to the dentist is, oh, God, go to the dentist. No, you can make it fun. If you all enjoy your work and enjoy your patients, it will be fun for the patient too.
Exactly. Such a practical strategies and actionable strategies you just mentioned today, and a reminder that this journey is about consistency and confidence. And as much as it's about the numbers, it's all about the confidence and the consistency. So, Sandy, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your invaluable insights on how dentists can strategically and confidently move towards insurance dependence.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much, Lester.
So, the key takeaway from today's episode is that reducing insurance dependence doesn't happen overnight. It's a process built on patient trust, data, and a team that's aligned with your practice vision. And as always, this podcast is about taking action. So, first off, if you want to attract high quality patients and grow beyond PPOs, schedule a complimentary marketing strategy meeting with Echo Marketing at lessinsuranceDependence.com/marketing-strategy-meeting. Secondly, if you're ready to create a thriving fee for service practice, and if you're looking for mentorship with personalized coaching, book a coaching strategy meeting with Gary Takas at thrivingdentist.com/CSM. Now, both of these are complementary resources and are designed to help you take meaningful steps towards the practice and the life you truly deserve. Thank you for joining us today, and a big thank you again to Sandy Baird for sharing her expertise. Until next time, keep moving towards a thriving insurance independent practice.